This is Daniel, and this is Shifting Perspectives. And today, I want to talk about something that comes up quite a bit because it just kind of reintroduces itself in our life. So the topic is about our life validates our beliefs, and otherwise known as we create our own reality. But I like playing with that concept and wording it in a different way that makes a little bit more sense to me. So our egoic self created a personality or a mask in the past to protect us during a time of trauma, whether real or perceived. Even though the trauma has since passed, we became used to and identified with this mask. This is just who I am. This mask causes us to perceive and create the world through that lens, that mask. We see things like this is just how I am, or I just need to control, and that kind of stuff. We accept this as permanent and who we are. We then can only go into love as much as our mask or our personality and our behaviors will allow. But deep inside, we long to be ourselves and to be loved. What would happen if we completely remove the mask that we wear? How can we remove this mask and become authentic? So like a lot of these topics, this is something that I've had direct experience with. So I'm going to talk about how I did that for myself and how you might be able to do that for you if you have felt that kind of thing. We're all wearing masks. We're all wearing this personality mask that kind of makes us talk in a certain way, makes me use my hands in a certain way, makes me walk in a certain way. My back sets in a certain stance in a certain way because of this mask that I wear. If I'm wearing the mask of victim and depression, I'll be I'll be hunched over. So it all really affects our body position, the tone of our voice, all kinds of things, and we just accept that as who we are. But if we were grown up in a different place in the world with different family, maybe our personality and our behaviors and our mask would be different. So it's not so permanent as we think that it is. So this comes up because every once in a while I feel myself kind of closing down and getting like a hardened personality. And it gets this kind of, protective position. And it's not a place that I really want to be in, but it comes up when I feel threatened or something, or when the old traumas start getting poked at, and then I get real bristly. And it doesn't happen too often, I don't think. I guess I should ask Valerie. But most of the time, I'm really tender and nurturing and soft. But every once in a while, that little bristling comes up, and this mask of don't F with me, I can cuss with you guys, don't fuck with me. And I know that mask got created a long time ago, and it was after some trauma in my life, and I decided to kind of wear that mask. And I remember I probably said over the years, this is just who I am. I'm kind of, what did I say? I'm really a nice guy, but don't take advantage of me, because then I'll be really, you're out of my life, or I'm hard or something. And that was part of my mask of, really, like, if you can think of like Josie Wales, Clint Eastwood, or James Caan, maybe not James Caan, Paul Newman. I kind of looked after these guys to see how they were kind of soft, kind of quiet. But man, when they needed to, and then shit hit the fan, they really changed their personality. And that's what I took on. So it is like an aspect of myself, or a version of myself, that gets put up. And I remember Teal Swan talking about this. If you haven't heard about Teal Swan, you should look her up. And she was talking about what happens, like little girls on the playground, and there's a girl who's kind of a bully and keeps on taking her lunch money or taking her lunch and really, pestering this little girl. And if the little girl inside has had enough of that, it's kind of like the egoic mind kicks in and goes, hold on, I've got this. I'm going to take care of this. You're too weak right now. I'm going to change my personality. So that little timid, little shy, innocent little girl becomes the hard bitch. And a lot of times you'll see these girls or women that are really hard. It's because, you know, something happened to them in their past. Not all the time, but a lot of times that's what I've seen, is that they're really soft and tender inside, guys too. But this can happen where it becomes, you know, this is who I am and nobody messes with me if I stay in this. But it's a hard mask to wear all the time. And I know with my own mask, it got really challenging to keep on wearing that mask, knowing that deep inside, I just wanted to be myself. I wanted to be authentic. And authentic to me was who I was before the conditioning of the world. That's kind of the best way that I can explain this. That before any conditioning of making you hard or making you bitter or making you protective or making you the victim, the way that you would automatically show up if you were, you know, well, almost on a desert island or on a tropical island with no contact, that you would be yourself, maybe with some interaction with some locals there, how you could be, that you could completely be yourself. But what happens to us is that we get conditioned by the world and what we believe the world to be. And that starts to color what we then attract in our life. And what I want to get to is we say we want deep love. We say we want to be loved. But if we're wearing a mask of perception of the world and what's available to us, love can only meet us as much as we'll meet love, kind of thing. I hope I'm saying this right. How I perceive the world and how I perceive that the world is treating me and that kind of thing, I'm going to get that flavor of love. Imagine if you're completely open, that you've surrendered to love. You know you're going to die tomorrow, and so you just kind of completely open yourself up. I'm just going to be who I am. Imagine the love that you would receive. Now imagine that you've filtered that down into your perceptions of the world and your belief system and all that conditioning, what you then receive. So it is really, I mean, you could say, you know, you create your own reality, or you create your own version of love, or you attract your own version of love. And it's just a question that I need to keep asking myself every time I get a little glitch in there. And I say, okay, but how are you meeting the world, Daniel? If you're wanting this super tender, loving, nurturing love, are you showing up that way? Or are you believing that that's not available, or there's some kind of belief system there? There always is, because I completely know that everything is mine to have, but it has to go through my filtering system to see if it can get through there. And I know I've told the story so many times, but that's the way that I saw my relationships, and how I met my past relationships is how I was perceiving myself and how I positioned myself. And what they saw was they had to see the mask that I was wearing. And then with Valerie, there's sometime before I met Valerie, I decided to remove the mask. And it's, you know, it's taken a few times to keep removing that mask, because I think I did that about 12 years ago. I had this big epiphany. And, you know, it's not something that someone could really make happen. And I know that I could talk to you about it, and you could get some clarity about it, and you could understand it on the kind of the logical level or something. But in order to really have the gumption to remove that mask, for me, it needed to be an experiential thing. And for me, it was a movie called Brother, Sun, Sister, Moon, being on 4,000 acres of property, living in a tiny home for 3 years. All that kind of led up to this moment in time when I finally said, I'm releasing my mask. I've been wearing this thing all my freaking life. And I decided to kind of not believe my mind anymore about how I needed to protect the situation all the time, position myself all the time. And then I forgot about it. And then I saw another movie called As It Is in Heaven, and that opened me up some more. And then I did more breath work, and that opened me up some more. So it's kind of like I'd been so accustomed to wearing that mask. I needed to keep on, how do I want to say this? I wanted to keep on cooking that, or keep on picking away at that, and getting used to that, and getting more and more comfortable with feeling safe without wearing that mask, that I didn't need to position myself and protect myself. And yeah, every once in a while it comes back up again. I need to keep reminding myself. And I'm sure that, I guess what my hope is that by the time I'm really close to death, that mask will be completely gone, and I'll be able to completely open myself to death. So that's kind of the practice, is to keep on practicing that, and reminding myself of that I really don't need protection. It's really my egoic mind that thinks it needs protection, but who I really am is this I am presence, this loving awareness. This doesn't need any protection. I'm all of it, and I'm animating this body, and I'm aware of and have created this aspect of myself that believes it needs protection. So I'm the one that's back here that's looking through awareness at the need for protection. Do you get that? I'm not the one that needs protection. I'm the awareness of the need for protection. Where does that come from? It comes from the egoic mind. So there's some understanding there, some kind of what do you call that? Shamanic psychology, or I don't know what you call it. Anyway, it's just kind of looking at it from a different angle and understanding how the mind works and how the ego works, and having experiences that cause you to keep opening up to this feeling of not needing that protection, not needing to wear that mask. So I want to slow down a little bit right now and just let you feel into what mask that you've been wearing. And you can kind of look into this mask by listening to your mind about, like, it might say something like, I know, but this is what I need. I know, but I just need to control things. I know, but I'm just a type A personality. All those things are behavior traits, personality traits of a learned way of being. What I'm talking about is something before that was conditioned, before that was learned. Any of that thing that comes out of your mouth or comes up in your thoughts about how you think that you need to be, it's true for you. I'm just saying that it is a mask, and you can wear that mask as long as you want. It's just that there's somebody else behind that mask. So just take a moment. And I know that there's thoughts in there that say, okay, I know there's a mask, but I'm comfortable with that mask. And for right now, it keeps me safe. That's true. But you are not the one that is coming up with those thoughts. You're the one that is aware of those thoughts. Again, the mask is serving you, but at least you know that there's a mask. And then whether there's a right time or never a right time to remove that mask, that'll be entirely up to you. But I just want to add that if you're upset with how the world is treating you, or how love doesn't come into your life the way that you want it to, or the events and situations that are attracting you in your life, the question becomes, what would happen if you let go of that mask? So it's fine to have a mask. It's fine to have this personality trait that keeps you safe and keeps you protected. But you're also protecting yourself from deep love. And I know that's a hard realization to admit to, that it's kind of like we cause our own suffering. And I totally get that. I know I cause my own suffering. I know I'm wearing a mask, and damn it, this is just where I'm at. totally get that, because if I don't have any other way of changing out of that, or how do I shift out of that without feeling safe doing that? That's what I'm here for. But I can understand that if you're in that position that, we're not connected, or you don't feel like you have someone that you can talk to. I've been in that position for a long time. And it's a hard place to be, but it's a place I needed to be. And I just distracted myself for as long as I could until I couldn't distract myself anymore. So maybe you're not in the deep enough state that I was, that I couldn't do it anymore. But I wouldn't have been open to shifting out of that, because I felt like that was who I was, and I was comfortable with that and that. But now that I look back on myself, I had a lot of work to do. I had a lot of shifting to happen. And I could never imagine who I would then become. So you're in charge of this. You're the one that's just deciding to go forward or not, and it's all okay. It's like think of it as this experience that you're going through. It's all totally fine. It's all fine how you want to work it, not work it, go fast, go slow. It all doesn't really matter. And the only thing that changes is when you attract a video like this. It's when you start getting these kind of messages and you go, oh, okay, there's something going on here I'm connecting with. Why did I connect with this? Why did I watch this video? If you're not connecting with this, then, nothing happens. But I think if I would have connected with a video like this or something like this back then, it would have kind of poked at a button with me. Just know that behind that mask is an even more powerful, empowered, loving being. And it's kind of like, yeah, the environment needs to be safe for that being to come out. That's why we do inner child work. That's why we kind of investigate this stuff and understand it, so that that new authentic self can reemerge. And just to let you know, when this new authentic self comes out, it's so liberating to come out and to be yourself again. You think that you're yourself. If you're wearing a mask, you think that that's who you are. That's just that's another version of that mask. But when this authentic self gets to reemerge, you don't have to be a monk. You don't have to save the world. You don't have to cure cancer. You don't have to do anything. You just get to be happy, or happier than you were before. And after that happens, and I'm speaking to you from experience, after that happens, like, I didn't know that life could be so happy. It could be so unfilled with drama, unfilled with heartache and suffering and pain in the ass relationships. And like, I always thought that people that were living this kind of life is, they were like super special or some kind of enlightened being or something. But that's not entirely true. It's just that there's a lot of, like, one name that comes to mind, only because I heard his name this morning on a video, is Keanu Reeves. That's one, and there's many others. But you look at someone like that, and he looks pretty authentic. I know he's an actor, but from what I've seen, it seems like he's pretty authentic, and he seems pretty happy. And maybe he's not, super enlightened or, guru or anything like that, but he seems pretty happy because he's authentic. And it doesn't seem like he's wearing too much of a mask there. I may be wrong. Maybe he's a really good actor. I know he is, but, I've met people, in town too, that are very authentic. And you see them when they don't know that you're seeing them, and they're very they're the same way as if you would see them. You know, they're very authentic either way. Well, I think that's all I got. Hope that helps. If you have any further questions or you want to dive into that, just give me an email, danielposney@gmail.com. Give me a call, set up a session. Just to let you know, I just set dates for my 2 men's retreats. We've got an advanced retreat coming up in June, and that's for 6 days. It's going to be a sweat lodge and medicine wheel and diving into cold water and epic hikes and great teaching and learning and awesome stuff. And then there's a 4-day not advanced, I don't know if I call it beginner, but it's just not advanced 6 days, 4 days in October. And that's going to be a lot of great stuff too. So look at my website, danielposney.com, and you'll see all the information there. Thank you so much for listening and watching. I love you. Thank you and bless you.